Welcome to an architect and a DJ build a home podcast.
She's an architect.
And he's the DJ.
And again, welcome to the very first episode of season 2. Yeah. Before we get into what this episode is all about, I have a bit of a quiz. Call it a game. I'm thinking of a song, and if you can guess what the song is, let us know. What you could do is check our Instagram page, where we'll actually post the name of the song and see if you got it right. I'll give you a few clues to what the song is, and yeah, like I said, see if you can guess what the song is. The clues are, it has to do with a home, a house, and I wonder why. And also, the other clue is that it's a slow song. You could say
a slow jam.
That is a slow jam. Because back in the day, that's what we used to call them. Slow jams. What do kids call slow songs?
I have no idea. No idea.
Do they even have slow songs? But anyway, yeah. If you know what the song is, check our Instagram page and see if you got it right. Yeah. All right, let's get into what we're talking about today.
So the entire season is really us going back right to the beginning, or going to the beginning of where do you start when you want to build a home? Where do you actually start? And I think it's one of the questions that's frequently asked.
Yes.
Especially if it's your first time. There's so much information out there, and it's just really difficult to get to, just get clear answers on how it is that you start. So that's what we'll start with talking about today, and then go in more detail as we progress with the season.
But I know I think we touched on it a bit in the last season.
Yeah.
But like we said today you can call it, we're doing a deep dive into what is actually involved when you want to start building.
Yeah.
All right, so where's the beginning? Where do you start?
Well, I think a good place to start would be just kind of like educating yourself on what is it that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I think there are lots of expectations of what the journey will be like, especially that we get snapshots.
You get Snapchats.
Snapshots. We get snapshots of other people's journey on social media. So maybe somebody's building and they're like, oh yeah, like there are lots of Instagram accounts which I think are really good. Mm-hmm. Like social media has allowed us to see like inside. Before you wouldn't really know how did this person get here. But now people are sharing online. So then you kind of like think that you'll get ideas for your own home for that. And yes, you do. But I think the thing with the information that's out there is that it's not always a complete picture.
No, exactly.
Yeah, so even like, say for instance, you would use Pinterest. Like I like using Pinterest quite a bit to get ideas. And the thing with looking at an image is that you don't really see what's behind that image. You don't really see what the person's intention was. Maybe they'll be able to give you information, but you won't see things like what needs were they trying to address by creating that type of space.
So you get someone who goes to Pinterest and maybe they see a picture of a house that they like.
Yes.
So they'll get that picture and they say, hey, I want this house.
Yes, I want this house. And the thing with that is that the life that person lives is not the one that you're living.
Exactly.
Yes, the things that their home is responding to is not necessarily what your home is responding to. So I do like getting references and things like that. I think it helps you have an idea of what it is that you like and what it is that you're drawn to. So it is an important part of the process. But I think the best starting point.
It's been a while. Yeah, so
It has.
you have to bear with us.
Talking
It's been a while since season 1. We'll get it, but we'll get there. I'm sure by episode 4, none of this will be happening.
It's the what is it? The gears are kicking in.
Yeah, it's a manual. It's a manual. It's not an automatic.
Yeah, so I think the best starting point is spending a bit of time just thinking through what it is that you want, what it is that this home is going to do for you, what you want this home to do for you, and allowing time to do that.
And I remember you said that you have to get into the details.
Yeah.
How detailed do you have to be?
Well, I think
when it comes to your expectations as what you want this house to be.
So I think because building a home is not something that we do every day, so there are few things that you can do that can help you. And one would be looking at how is it that you live in your own space right now, the space that you're in. What works? What do you like? What don't you like? Like maybe the couch is forced to be in a certain position because of the space that you have. You're renting and whatnot, so you're making do with the space that you have.
Already there.
Yes. But then maybe it doesn't work with how you watch TV, or maybe it doesn't work with how it is that you want when guests come to your home. Maybe you're like, this doesn't quite work. Maybe I need a separate space for when guests come. And so you're asking yourself those questions. You're going through your home and you're thinking through, how do I use this space? When we get into the home, where do we go first? What needs to be in easy reach when I get into my home? When I'm using the kitchen, how do I use it? Is there a place for all the things that I do in the kitchen? And there are people who use their kitchens differently. You know, there are those who are like, they're really avid. What do you call them? Cookers. Like they do cooking on.
They spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
Yes,
and
cooking is done on a different level than maybe where you're like, okay, I need to get the meal done and get out as long as we've eaten.
Quickly,
it's fine. Yeah. So that person will use the kitchen differently from if you're like you're into gourmet cooking. Maybe
you love to entertain.
Yes, and maybe there's specific equipment that you use. So a great starting point will be like, how do you use the space that you're in?
Okay.
How do you use the space that you're in? What works? What doesn't work? And also thinking through, like when you're dreaming about your home, what is it that comes to your mind about what that home would look like, feel like? We get clues from places that we go to. There are lots of nice eating places now, and you go there and you feel there's a certain way that you feel when you're in a nice place, and you want to pinpoint, okay, what feeling do I want to create? Why is it that I feel this way when I'm in this space? Is it the color? Is it the textures? What is it that I like about it? So you're basically trying to figure out, what is this space going to be? What do I have in my mind? What are those ideas that I have? And it's important to do it at the beginning, because they can be abstract. they can be wild.
Dreamy.
Yes, and because eventually, as the process goes along, you do have to connect it with what your budget is.
Going to ask.
Yes.
Yes. That's where I was going to go. Like, how? Because obviously, I'm assuming that you already know how much you're working with. How how much does that affect your expectations, or what's the word? How much does that affect how you want your house to be, your budget?
So so you said assuming that you know how much
Yes.
you're going to spend. So one of the realities that I've come to understand exist is that a lot of people don't actually know how much they're going to spend for their house. So I think part of the beginning stage would also be educating yourself on how much it actually costs. So that there's that reality that says that, okay, I need to have about this much in order for me to get to this spot. And it's fine if you don't know it at the beginning. You can also use that dreaming process to say, okay, I want to do this, 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 this. So that has to be part of the process. I want to do this. And then you go through the process of saying, how much can I actually afford? I want to do this. How do I balance it out with what it is that I have? Or what are my options? But the starting point always has to be defining what you want and defining what your home needs to do for you. And then it becomes easier to then connect the reality part. So you can start dreaming, but then you know that there's going to be a time where you have to connect that with what it is that you have. The earlier that you know how much you have available in order to do your home, the better.
Let me also say that when it comes to knowing how much you're working with and how much your home will cost, that's where a quantity surveyor comes in, right? Am I right or am I wrong?
So there's the quantity surveyor. There are different professionals. So different professionals are experienced in working with houses. So then they'll be able to give an idea. They'll be able to estimate for planning purposes. Even architects, so like architects in the process will be able to say that, oh, if you've got around this amount, then the size that you're looking at is about this amount.
Anyway, I brought in the issue of a quantity surveyor because later on in the season, we'll be having
that's what you were
That's
doing.
where I was going. We'll be having a quantity surveyor on the show. So look out for that episode. But anyway, getting back to planning.
Yes. So the where you begin is really defining what it is that you want. What is it that you want your home to achieve? There are, of course, basics that you need to have sorted in order for you to actually start. And one is having a plot. You need to have somewhere to build, and your plot will be one of the things that determines what your home will look like. So one, having a plot, and then two, knowing what your budget is. So in the beginning stage, and it doesn't matter how long you're going to take, and as like the what do I want to say? The more time that you allow to plan and to think through at the beginning, the better it is for you to make decisions according to where it is that you are at in terms of your budget, in terms of the different areas that you want to sort out.
Let me stop you there. This is a yes or no question. And I say that deliberately because I know you. It's a yes or no question. When it comes to, you mentioned first thing, plot.
Yes.
Is there a right or wrong way of making the most of a plot?
Is there a right or
wrong way of using the space that you have in terms of a plot? Or you can just, hey, you've got it, you can just fill it up with a structure, or you can, maybe put depending on the size. I mean, because I ask because I see all sorts of things happening on different plots. So is there a right or wrong way?
There's a way that will help you get the most out of your plot.
Okay.
There are laws that are in place that tell you how you can use your plot. You can't just build. So
I'll take that as a yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Moving on.
These random
yes or no.
Yeah. Stop making me hostage. Yeah, so I think I think where to begin, and we will be going through the different steps so that we want to just spend a bit more time on each step, because I think in the last season we breezed through
a
quickly.
lot.
And we'll put a link. We'll put in a link in the show notes with the episode where we talked about what is the process. Remember, there was one we did about that. But yeah, we want to take it slowly. And we've said a good place to start is identifying what your needs are. Yes. What do you want this home to do? What are you dreaming about? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So allow yourself to dream a little, and allow yourself to think about how you use your space right now, and in your new home, how will it be better? What are the things that you can take from where you are?
I'm thinking, here's a couple.
Yes.
Newlyweds. They're planning on building a home.
Yeah.
What's the difference between them and a couple who are maybe in their 40s, 50s with 4 kids or 5 kids? What are the differences in them planning for a home? What do they both have to look at? So
you'll have different needs depending on the stage where you're at. If you're like an older couple, older person, and this goes for like singles as well. Your life will have different needs. So maybe the older couple will be looking at, maybe their children are going to leave home soon. So maybe what they need to accommodate their kids will be very different from the ones who they're just starting a family and they're looking at, okay, we have a baby, but this baby is going to become a teenager at a particular time. So how are we going to allow for those different phases in our child's life? So depending on where you are, you would then think like, okay, what are the needs of the different people who will use our home? So you'll consider your children. You'll consider your children. You'll consider the people who come into your home. You consider your friends when your friends come to visit. What sort of space would you like to have to accommodate that? Or maybe you have different members of the community, like a lot of homes accommodate like church gatherings. How do you want to accommodate that? How do you want to accommodate that type of visitor into your home, or relatives who would come to stay? How are you creating that space in your home for all of those functions to take place?
Okay, and I'm looking at the time that we have, but another minute, because, well, I'm saying answer this question in another minute. Because usually what tends to happen is a couple, or anyone wants to build a house, it'll be, listen, I want a 3-bedroom house. Yeah. That's as much detail and information as they have. Yes. How would you advise someone to think beyond that?
Whenever someone comes up with that, look, I want a 3-bedroom house, you then have to go into helping them to think through like, okay, you want a 3-bedroom house, but what should be contained there? What are you going to do in this house? And even in the bedrooms, who are they for? What do we need to allow for? Because one bedroom could have a walk-in closet because it's your master bedroom, but the other bedroom maybe just needs a shelf type arrangement because that's going to be a guest room. So then you have to now guide into going into the details. And people can do this alone. People can actually do this alone in terms of how they prepare for a design to be done, by actually thinking through like, okay, I want 3 bedrooms. What spaces do I need? What functional spaces do I need? And what do I need in order to accommodate the needs that I have in this home?
Okay. So in summary, how would you put it?
So in summary, when you're starting, you want to really start with defining what it is that you want. You want to spend a bit of time to do that so that the end result follows what it is that you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and that's the episode for today.
Yeah. We're done.
Instagram, before we go.
At home_build_Zambia. And we'll put it in the show notes so it's easy for you to connect with us.
And that's the show for today.
Thank you. An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast is a Home Build Zambia production, recorded and produced in Lusaka. The show is hosted by Kalenga, he's the DJ, and me, Impangela, I'm the architect. Video recording by Sharon Malama, music by Bless the Creative, technical support provided by Bless the Creative. You can find us on Instagram at home_build_Zambia or on our website homebuildzambia.com, or contact us by email podcast@homebuildzambia.com. Thank you for listening.